was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand. For a new heaven, a new earth, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. Oh, it's happened with my family. I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me, think I'll be gone home. Yeah, Israel is calling us back home to Zion. I'm on my knees. I lay down my life. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion.
Test it, test it.
I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path.
Test it.
Show me the way to Zion. To Zion. I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path.
Shalom and Barakatham. Peace and blessings. We are the Gathering of Christ Church, New York City, a family who adheres to the sacred laws of the earth administered to Christ down to his father's children of Israel, whom are scattered abroad. We would like to invite you to join us in our law classes, which are held every Sabbath beginning at 1 p.m. during the winter season and 2 p.m. during the summer season, under the tutelage of Regional Elder Gabar and leadership. Since nations are built on families, our focus is to awaken our people, bring them back to their original heritage which was once forgotten, and to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, together as one under Christ. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom, family. Let's give the Most High his praise. All praise to the Most High, Ahaya. Bahashem Yeshayro Wat Kwadash. Right? For allowing us to see another Shabbat. And happy Feast of Unleavened Bread, brothers and sisters. Happy Feast of Unleavened Bread. 1 second as I fix the presentation. Make sure everything is copacetic for our online family. How's everybody doing online? Put a con or a thumbs up or something. How the brothers and sisters doing in the room? Great. All praise to the Most High. We back, right? Man, we missed you guys, man. It was a beautiful Passover. For those of you who were there, you guys know what this is, right? Right. All praise to the Most High, man. It was just a beautiful thing to see our brothers and sisters throughout, the state and the four corners coming around and just be with each other for the Shabbat. Sound is good. Got Officer Zachariah feeling the sound tonight. But yeah, it was a beautiful thing. We was met with a lot of brothers and sisters from the other congregations. Brothers and sisters from Houston, Dallas, Orlando, with very beautiful and encouraging words about the work. We praise the Most High for them, and to see and to understand and to know that the work is not being labored in vain. Khan, the Most High is really using our church to bring forth, a lot of these end time prophecies and bringing us and galvanizing His people for these last days, right? And we definitely had a great time, man. I wish it didn't end, but Most High willing, everybody in the room will be here. Will be there next year, Khan. You know what I'm saying? We missed you guys, but all was well. I hope you guys was able to catch the live stream. But as we do it every Shabbat, let us rise and let us go into Exodus, the 20th chapter, as usual. So we in Exodus 20:1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Most High thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Most High thy power in vain. For the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
For the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Most High thy power.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Most High thy power.
In it thou shalt not do any work.
In it thou shalt not do any work.
Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen. You may all be seated. Once again, Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers and sisters in the room and those who are online. We're going to continue with the reading out of the law. We're going to start at Exodus 1. So if we can have brothers, baptized brothers, fill up the 2 seats, and each brother will take 7 verses each. I'll start it off. So we in Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died and all his brethren, and all that generation. Verse 7 and last. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Man.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to continue at Exodus chapter 1, verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it comes to pass that when they falleth out of any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Verse 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. That's verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, family. It's your brother Nestle, tribe of Levi, nation of Israel. I read in Exodus 1 and 15 through 21. And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrews midwives, of which the names of one was Sephra, and the name of the others Paha. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrews women, and see them upon the stool, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared the Most High. It did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men's children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, Which have ye done to the Egyptian women? For they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives came unto them. Therefore the Most High dealt with therefore the Most High dealt with while which were the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. 21 and last. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared the Most High, they had made them houses. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, family. I'm just glad to be back in the house of the Most High. Missed y'all last week. All right, picking up at Exodus chapter 1, verse 22. Brother Mike, tribe of Judah, nation of Israel. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and he took a wife, a daughter of Levi, and the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. Verse 4, and his sister stood afar off, to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. Verse 6 and last. And when she had opened it, and she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Come on.
Aman. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. All praises be to the Most High Higher. I'm Brother Rawchaa from the tribe of Benjamin, nation of Israel. We're in Exodus chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 6. Matter of fact, no, verse 7. Sorry, it's Lawya. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Should I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew woman, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away, and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, Because I drew him out of the water. Verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. Verse 12. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Verse 13 and last. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together, and he said to him that did the wrong, Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Name is Brother Zechariah from the tribe of Levi, nation of Israel, picking up in the book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 14. And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. Verse 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Verse 16. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Verse 17. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. Verse 18. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? Verse 19. And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. Verse 20. And he said unto his daughters, and where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. Verse 21 and last. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. Amen.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom. Everybody feeling it tonight? Very good. All right, everybody well? Everybody blessed by the best? His name is? All right. All right, so we're going to get ready for tonight's lesson by Officer Wildorf, right? But we're going to, as we do it every week, we're going to pray in. Everybody please rise and let us prepare our hearts and our minds to receive the word of the Most High through our dear brother. Brothers, uncover your heads. Sisters, please cover your heads. All right. To the power Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Ahaya Asher, Ahaya Bahashim Yashai Rawchaa. We come before you humbly to give you all thanks and all praise and all honor and glory, Father, for allowing us for another opportunity to see another year, to see another feast, and to see another Shabbat, Father. We thank you, Father, for we are not worthy, Father, but you have called us faithful, Father. You have chosen us out of the world. So we thank you through your Son, Yeshua HaMashiach. We ask that you forgive us for any trespasses that we have committed unto ourselves and unto you and unto others, Father. Continue to wash us and keep us clean unto the coming of your Son, Father. We thank you in this manner. We pray, our Father, who are in heaven, holy is your name. Ahaya. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For you are the kingdom, and you are the power, and you are the glory, forever and never. Shemai, Yasha Allah, Ahaya, Allahayanawa, Ahaya, Achad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, Ahaya, Ahaya, Ahaya is one. Amen. Without any further ado, our brother and officer, Wildorf. And clap it up for the brother. And praise to the Most High.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Okay, it's, it's always an honor to have the opportunity to stand here before the Most High and and go into his word and sort of share with everyone the spirit that the Most High put in me, and to share with everybody else in the body. So all praises to the Most High. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start. All right, so today's lesson, I'm going to talk about the topic of humility in a lowest state. Okay? Because this past weekend, coming home from the Passover, you know, when I got off the bus and came back to New York, I don't know if anybody felt the same way, but I felt like a big, heavy burden started coming down. You know, because I felt like reflecting and said, man, I was coming from a place like, it's like I was in the kingdom. I was in Passover. You know, all the saints, all the brothers and sisters was looking beautiful and jiggy, and the garments was nice, and the teaching was awesome. You know, it's like we were in the kingdom. I mean, now I'm thinking back of the center that we were in. It's like I just see gold all around it, and, you know, beautiful people. But reality didn't hit till I got off that bus. Okay, I was like, oh man, wait a minute here. I just came from a place of royalty, and now, oh wait a minute, I'm in captivity. I'm in the lowest state. What's going on here? So then, of course, I got in like maybe Monday morning, maybe about 10 o'clock, and, you know, it's a work day. So when I got home, my phone's just ringing. Clients calling me, you know. I look on the table, I see all the bills, and I said, wait a minute, I took care of some of these bills before I left. Why they piling up? So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to answer the phone today. I'm not going to do any work, okay? I'm going to just go into the scriptures, okay? So I went to Deuteronomy 28, if we can go there. Just to try to understand why I was feeling so, you know, sort of way, sort of, you know, down and everything like that. And why I feel like reality had just come and hit. Deuteronomy 28, I'm going to start at 1 to 3.
All right, everyone. We're in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and we're going to start at verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Most High thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Okay, so that made me kind of feel good. That's how I felt when I was at Passover. Like we was like really high above all the other nations. We was just all together, and just, it was just a wonderful feeling, you know? Didn't feel any aches and pain or anything, you know? Go ahead.
Verse 2. And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power.
So imagine, for the Most High to give us blessings to just overtake us. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt. Go ahead.
Verse 3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
Okay, so I didn't feel like that when I came back to the city. Okay, so I said, wait a minute, I'm in a curse. Okay, we're in a curse. Jump down to 15.
Verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Okay, so these curses, again, it creeped up on me and said, wait a minute, I'm still in the curses. So then I started reading, and then if you jump down to verse 43.
Verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
So now, you know, the strangers, the other nations, right now, they're above us. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. We're in a lower state. Go ahead.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee.
Now he will lend to you. Go ahead.
And thou shalt not lend to him.
I'm not in a position to even lend to him. So I'm like, okay, bam, I'm in the curse. Why? Okay. So I started reflecting, then I started feeling a certain way. I said, man, I'm in a lower state. Then what happened is the spirit of anger started to creep in. I have to come to some type of realization. I said, wait a minute, why am I in this situation? It's unfair. You know? The spirit of anger started creeping in. So then I knew that I had to put a lesson together for this Shabbat, for this night. And I wasn't feeling a certain way, so then I called Hazak. And I said, yo, my mind is kind of full right now. I don't think I'll be able to give a lesson this Shabbat. He was like, oh, word? He said, I said, yeah, you'll probably have to find somebody else, you know. But then I was still feeling convicted. And then, you know, another Ak called me. And then for the tone of my voice, he was like, oh, boy, shalom, Ak. I said, yeah, what's up, shalom, man, what's going on? He said, you all right? I said, yeah, you all right? So I felt my spirit wasn't good. He said, oh, boy, what's the matter, Ak? I said, well, don't you ever feel like, I said, right now, I got a little spirit of anger right now. She said, yeah, I know what you mean. I feel the same way, too. And I asked him, I said, why? He said, I don't know, just after Passover, you know. You see, you know, he said the same thing. He's like, you know, this captivity is really taking fruition. So then after that, we started talking about David. Started going into some scriptures and just discussing David. So we were just talking about certain things. And then after that, we hung up. But then I started reflecting. I said, wait a minute. Our forefathers went through the same thing. There was a time where they were at a low estate before the Most High could use them and bring them up. And I said, you know what? Let me go check on our forefathers. And I realized Moses, he was in low estate. How did he handle his situation? And how did the Most High raise him up? Moses had adversaries, Korah, Saul, David, Job, and including the disciples that were with Christ. So we're going to go a little backdrop on each individual of our forefathers to see when they were at a low estate and how the Most High raised them up. So then we can figure out for us to continue to be in the spirit of the Most High. Because sometimes when you feel like you're in a certain way, when you're feeling, you know, like you're in a lower state, you tend to be angry and you bring the spirit of angerness to you know, to yourself. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, I was walking down the street one time in grocery stores and then, you know, somebody passed by and they fly a car and with their booming system. I was like, man. Then I started reflecting on what I used to have. I was like, man, I was just like that, man. Things was good. But now, you know, in this truth, hold on a second here. You know? But let's go into some of our forefathers, see how they handle it. We're gonna start off with Moses, and we just went over some of the verses. I think we opened up in it, but we're gonna start at Exodus 2, verse 5.
And everybody there just say con.
Yeah, let me get there too. Yeah, Exodus
All right, we're in
2.
the book of Exodus chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 1.
No, you can start at 5.
Start at 5?
Yeah.
Okay. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee?" And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, "Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages." And the women took the child and nursed it, and the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, "Because I drew him out of the water." And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren and looked their burdens. And
Okay, so now we know that it's talking about Moses. Okay, so Moses grew as what? An Egyptian. He grew up in the Pharaoh's house. So Moses grew up with a certain prestige. Okay, Moses probably had the best education. He had the nice jewelry. He traveled a lot. Okay, so he knew his position of power. You know, he was like a prince under the Pharaoh's rulership. So he's very prestigious. Go ahead.
and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting in Hebrew one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand.
Now, Moses, he got a little compassion for how the Hebrews was living, how they were being treated. But then he looked around and made sure no one was looking and decided to take another man's life. Now, the Hebrews that's being afflicted, I'm sure plenty of times it came across their mind to take the life of the person that's afflicting them, but they couldn't because they were in a lower state. Okay, but Moses, who feel like he's in a higher state, right? He feel like he can do it and get away with it. Just like in our societies, we find out that, a lot of men in high positions could create murders and try to hide their murders because they think they get away with it. And then you don't find out till about maybe 10, 20 years later on. You're like, what? This person did that? But us, who's in the bottom of the state, we know sooner we lay a hand on somebody above us, there's repercussion. Okay? So Moses, I think at that time, he's just feeling that, okay, you know what? Let me hide this murder. Okay? Let's go ahead, continue.
Verse 13.
Yeah, continue verse 13.
And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, Surely this thing is known.
So they expose him. And once he's trying to help expose him. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 15. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well.
Okay, so now Moses had to flee. Now his life was in danger. Okay? Remember, Moses was prestigious. He grew up as an Egyptian. All right? He had a lot of connections, but because of this murder, he had to flee. Now he went into a community of the Midianites. Go ahead, read.
Verse 16. Now the priests of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled their troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flocks.
Okay, so there was some shepherds that was harassing the daughters of Midian. And of course, Moses stood up for them, fought them until they go away. One man versus how many shepherds? So Moses had some fighting skills. If you're growing up in a prestigious place, what they do, they're gonna, take you to like martial arts class, those kind of things. So Moses knew how to fight. For him to take on shepherds, more than one man. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, Who is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hands of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock.
So they knew he was Egyptian, how he was dressed, how he carried himself. Okay, jump down to 21.
Verse 21. And Moses was content to dwell with the man.
So he was content now where he was in the Midianite, to dwell with them. Go ahead.
And he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. Verse 22. And she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land.
Okay, so now he's in a strange land, a land he has no knowledge of. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 23. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of the bondage.
Jump down to chapter 3:1.
Exodus chapter 3, verse 1. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian.
So now, what was Moses' occupation? He was a shepherd. He was tending to sheep. At one time, you grew up as a prince, a high status. Now you're working with sheep. You're stepping on dung. You're shaving hairs. Okay? So Moses right now, he's in a lower state. Okay? And then what happened?
And he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of the Most High, even to Horeb.
Okay, so now that's when the Most High came to visit him. All right? Because the Most High knew that he couldn't visit Moses when he was an Egyptian, when he had that mindset. Because he would not understand. Imagine Moses as an Egyptian, and he walking and you look at the mountain of Horeb and see that fire, that light. What he's going to do? He's going to take his whole Egyptian way and say, let's go check this out. Let's go up there. Let's see what this bright light is. No, the Most High knew he would not be ready for that. So the Most High had to take him down, right, and work with him. Moses had to humble himself. He was content. You didn't see him complaining to Jethro and say, yo, man, I'm working with these sheep, stepping on dung, man. I mean, could you put me in a higher position, man? I'm getting my fingernails dirty and my gold is getting dirty. No. He dealt with it. He humbled himself. He took his punishment. Okay, because it was a form of punishment that the Most High put Moses. Because why? He committed murder. And that's the same thing that, sometimes we got to understand that while we're in captivity, we're under a punishment for transgressions that we've done. Okay? All right, let's now also well, we'll get to that part. Let's go to Exodus 4 and 10.
The book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 10. And Moses said unto the Most High, O the Most High, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue.
So what? So Moses now is saying that he's a slow speech. He's not eloquent enough. What do you mean by that? The Most High wants him to go out and speak to the children of Israel. This is after the Most High has given his name and told him what was his mission. Okay? But now Moses don't feel eloquent enough. He doesn't have that confidence. Go ahead, read.
Verse 11. And the Most High said unto him, Who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb, or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Most High?
It's the Most High. Go ahead.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O Most High, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the anger of the Most High was kindled against Moses.
So Moses still wasn't confident to go, so the Most High started getting angry with him. Go ahead.
And he said, Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well.
Okay, so he said he could speak well. Remember, Most High chose Aaron to speak for Moses because what? Aaron grew in the Hebrew culture. So Aaron was able to communicate the Hebrew language more so than Moses. Because remember, Moses knew many different languages, but I don't think he was strong in the Hebrew language. Just like, we have a lot of people in a prestige position, right? And we got regular brothers, sisters in the hood. What they say our English is? Ebonics, right? Broken English, but then they think it's proper English. So Moses felt the same way. I can't speak that same Hebrew as those people can. It's almost like, even coming from the islands, me for instance, Moses said to me, Officer Waldorf, I want you to go to Haiti and go speak to the people in Haiti. I'd be like, what? They're gonna be calling me Creole Lou. That means spoken Creole. They're gonna call me Jaspoa. I can't do that. But that's how Moses felt. Go ahead, continue.
I know that he can speak well, and also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee. And when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do.
So Moses had to be retrained and retaught over. See that? He had a different kind of education. But now when you're dealing with the Most High have teach you his education, his understanding. Okay? He has to take you down, mold you, work with you, to start bringing you back up again. Okay? Let's move on to Numbers 11 and 4. So Moses got the children out of Egypt. Now he's a leader now.
When everybody there say Khan.
The thing too about Moses, I feel like before he went to the mountain and the Most High gave him that mission, I don't believe that he knew that he was the deliverer that everyone was talking about. Because he heard them talk about deliverer, but he really didn't know. But for him to know, he had to go down and be in a level, a position where the Most High could work with him. And just like all of us in here, we don't know what the Most High is going to install in you. We don't know. But we have to be humble and show humility while we're in our captivity, while we are in the position that we are. Okay? While we're going through the things that we're going through. So we're at Numbers 11 and 4.
The book of Numbers, chapter 11, verse 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish that we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers, the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic.
You see, there you go. We always go back here to murmuring, looking back, thinking about the things that you had. Okay? And I'm reading this, I said, oh man, I was thinking about the cars I used to have. I'd probably anger the Most High. I said, let me buckle down, continue reading. Go ahead, continue.
Verse 6. But now our souls is dried up. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes.
Okay, so complaining, thinking about the good stuff you had, not understanding that the Most High had to take you out of Egypt and bring you down to a lower state for him to work with you. There was no humility, especially the mixed multitude that was with them. The mixed multitude couldn't understand that. Okay? Let's move over to verse 8.
Verse 8.
Wait, excuse me, no. Number 16 and 1.
Number 16 and 1?
16 and 1 to 3.
Number 16 and 1. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the son of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men.
Now Korah, he was a Levite. And he had some other men with him that were princes of Israel, of other tribes. Go ahead.
And they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown.
So these men, they had high position. Okay? Even when they was in Egypt, a lot of them could have been the taskmasters. Okay? A lot of them probably had comfortable living, even though they was working for the Egyptians. But we have that in our peoples today. You know, that's in a comfortable jobs, comfortable position. Okay? But then now, they're in the wilderness where they got to eat manna, where they have to look for water, you know, where they have to sleep in tents. And here's Moses, who's not in a higher position they are. They want to question him. They want to challenge him. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, even one of them, and the Most High is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Most High.
So it's like, so who are you to take over this congregation, Moses? Who are you? You was dealing with sheeps. Okay, when I was out there being a taskmaster, who are you? Now you're the head of the Levite. You get to go to the Holy of Holies. Quran's like, I want to go inside the Holy of Holies. I want to speak to the Most High. Go ahead.
And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow the Most High will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him, even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him.
So Moses was like shocked. He's like, yo, I can't believe this guy. He's questioning the authority of the Most High. Jump down to 8.
Verse 8. And Moses said unto Korah, Hear, I pray you, sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you, that the power of Israel hath separated you from the congregation of Israel, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Most High, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them.
Okay, so saying, isn't it a small thing that you get to minister for the Most High? Remember how we talked about how the tabernacle and the Levite was set up, where the Levites has to come and they do the duties and the sacrifices for the Most High, but the high priest was the only one that can go inside the Holy of Holies. So Korah, it's like he wanted that position. Okay? But the Most High did not give him that position. Because why? Most High saw his heart. Continue.
Verse 10. And he brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren, the sons of Levi, with thee, and seek ye priesthood also? For which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Most High? And what is Aaron, that ye murmur against him?
So now the fact that they're gathering against Moses, they're gathering against who? The Most High. Okay? Most High put Moses' authority over Korah and the rest of the congregation. Continue.
Verse 12. And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up.
So now he's asking for them to come up, and they're bold-faced saying, no, we're not going to come up. Being disobedient. The spirit of anger came into them. Because they can't get their way, they don't like the position they're in. So when that spirit of anger came into them, they become what? Disobedient. That's what it's leading to. Go ahead, continue.
Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of the land that floweth with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us?
So now their pride is being lifted up. Sound like they want to go back to the land of milk and honey. Go ahead.
Moreover, thou hast not brought us into the land that floweth with milk and honey, or gave us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up.
There you go. So they already told him blatantly, we're not coming up, Moses. Not realizing this Levite that you really got it good, Ak. You don't have to do no heavy work. Okay? You're working for the Most High. All the stuff, all the food, all the garments, you're getting it for free. Israel have to give you these things. But it wasn't enough. They had Egypt in their heart. So we jump down to 28. How Most High deal with them?
Verse 28. And Moses said, Hereby ye shall know that the Most High hath sent me to do all these works.
So Most High sent me. Put him in this position of power. Go ahead.
For I have not done them of mine own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitations of all men, then the Most High hath not sent me. But if the Most High make a new thing, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked the Most High.
So that spirit of anger that brought jealousy, disobedience, okay, angered the Most High. They was ready to go against authority. And a lot of us sometimes we got to check ourselves in that. Sometimes it's not really our fault because for some of us, we were so much conditioned in the world that it made us enjoy certain things and love some lavish things that now when the Most High is ready to deal with you, it's kind of hard to give it up. Sometimes you give it up, cold turkey, but as years go by and then you see reminders, you see one of your friends is, driving a Beamer and we just, hey, what's up? I'm like, oh man, hey, what's going on? All right. And they drive off. You start thinking, it's like, man, I'm still, I got to wait on the Ark to go to Shabbat right now to come pick me up. So what I'm realizing that in this state, humility is important. Okay? So then I won't allow that spirit of anger to come inside us. And next thing you know, we'll go amongst our family, the body, and start thinking things and start, thinking about the elder and, why is the elder up there and things like that. Most High will deal with us. So now we're going to go into David real quickly. And how David dealt with being in a low estate. So let's go to 1 Samuel 16, 1 through 5. 1 through 5. Let's see, 1 Samuel.
When you guys there, say Khan. Start at verse 5, right?
Start at verse 1.
All right. 1 Samuel chapter 16, starting at verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among them.
So this is
among
when
his sons, Lawya.
So this is when the Most High was angry with Saul and was going to take the kingship away from him. Right? Because Saul was disobedient. Mm-hmm. And then he's going to give it to somebody else. He's going to give it to David. Go ahead. Continue.
Verse 2. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Most High said, take a heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me him who I name unto me.
Okay, now remember, Samuel was the high priest and prophet for the Most High. So Most High gave him an order. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
And Samuel did that which the Most High spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming. And he said, comest thou peaceably?
So, soon as Samuel walked into the town, all the elders start trembling. Because during those times, whenever the prophet comes and visits you, there's never any good news. Somebody did wrong. Somebody got to pay a price for something. So the elders that was trembling, they just gave themselves away. They did something. Because if you didn't commit any transgression and you see the prophet, you'd be calm, you'd be good. But these guys, you don't know what kind of sins they've been committing. As soon as they see Samuel, they just start trembling. Probably they was drinking wine and wine started spilling all over them. Oh my goodness, Samuel, put this away. Samuel, is everything good? Samuel just walked right by them. Where's Jesse? Continue.
And said, comest thou peaceably? And he said, peaceably.
Peaceably.
I come to sacrifice unto the Most High.
Oh boy, they were calm. All right. I'm good. Go ahead.
Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and he called them to the sacrifice. Verse 6. And it came to pass, when they were come, he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Most High anointed is before him. But the Most High said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him.
Okay, so the Most High refused this son. Go ahead.
For the Most High seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Most High looketh on the heart.
Okay. We're going to go, why the Most High look at the heart and don't choose these men. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel. And he said, neither had the Most High chosen this.
He didn't choose this one. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And Jesse made Shammah to pass by. And he said, neither had the Most High chosen this. Verse 10. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Most High hath not chosen these.
So he has 7 sons. Most High didn't choose none of them. I'm going to show you why the Most High didn't choose them either. Go ahead.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children?
So now, why does Samuel have to ask, is that all your children? Why didn't Jesse just say, oh, you know what, I have another son. Bring him along too. Why did Samuel have to ask him a question? Hey, that's all the boys you have? You have any more? Like you have favorites? Or he's looking at the outside. He can't think about, I know they're not talking about David. He's out there with the sheep, so, what could he do? He was a shepherd boy. Go ahead.
And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep.
But he keeps sheep. Why you want to annoy him? He's with sheep all day. Go ahead.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for I will not sit down till he come hither.
He said, Samuel's not going to move till you go get him. Go ahead.
And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And the Most High said, arise, anoint him, for this is he.
See, so now the Most High anoints David. What was David doing? Tending to sheep. What was Moses doing? Tending to sheep. That's what our forefathers was doing even before they went to Egypt. They were shepherd kings. Okay, because remember, sheep are very stubborn. You got to try to organize as much sheep as possible. So being a shepherd, you're getting the training to lead a crowd of people. At the moment, you might think like, I'm stepping on dung and I got to shave this one and this one's having babies all over. Okay? But even though you felt like that occupation was in a lower state, but the Most High was preparing you. Let's jump down to, continue 13. Okay, jump down to 14. So David is anointed now. While anointing is going on with David, we're going to the palace where Saul is. 14.
Verse 14. But the Spirit of the Most High departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Most High troubled him.
Okay, so now, once David got anointed, matter of fact, read 13.
Verse 13. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Most High came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah.
So now, see that the Spirit of the Most High came onto David. But in the palace, the Spirit of the Most High left Saul. So that the transfer of power was happening. So now Saul, he knew that he was going to lose that kingship. He didn't know to whom, but he felt it, so he became very angry. That's why it says here, read 14.
Verse 14. But the Spirit of the Most High departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Most High troubled him.
So now, Saul is troubled. Continue.
Verse 15. And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold now, an evil spirit from the Most High troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player of an harp.
You see that? But the funny thing is, they blaming the Most High for this evil spirit. You see what his servant said? Read it again, 15.
And in the 15, Behold now, an evil spirit from the Most High troubleth thee.
Blaming the Most High. But you don't want who committed the sin. You don't want us angry. So the Most High took it from him. Now he angry at the Most High. That's basically what they're saying. Continue. 16.
Verse 16. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man which is a cunning player of an harp.
Now that word cunning, originally it doesn't mean slick or devilish, or it just means skillful. Okay? Not somebody who's about trickster or trying to get over. It means skillful player. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from the Most High is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well.
See, so now he's the servant telling us, listen, you in a bad mood, you're angry, you feel away. We get a magician to make you feel good. Then we do that in the world. When we feel bad, what we do? We listen to music. We go listen to music to make us feel better. I'm going to go listen to some praise and worship, just lift my spirit.
Yeah.
I'm mad at somebody. Let me listen to some war music. I'm working out. Let me listen to some, energy music. So, the music, have certain type of spirit in them. So Saul wanted that. He wanted to get out of this mood. Continue, 17.
And Saul said unto his servants, Provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me.
Now we're going to go to the part how the Most High plays chess. Go ahead.
Then answered one of the servants and said, Behold, I have seen a son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that is cunning in playing, and a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and a prudent in matter, and is a comely person, and the Most High is with him.
So he's talking about David. Okay? Not knowing that David is the one that's been anointed to take over his position. But see how the Most High set it up? That's the Most High setting that up. Go ahead.
Wherefore Saul sent messengers unto Jesse and said, Send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. And Jesse took a donkey laden with bread, and a bottle of wine, and a kid, and sent them by David his son unto Saul. And David came to Saul, and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer.
So now David is just getting all these skills. First he's working with sheep. He's a musician. Now he's carrying an armor. David's becoming a jack of all trade. So he's stepping up right now, not even knowing what his purpose is going to be. Go ahead.
Verse 22. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for I hath found favor in my sight. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit of the Most High was upon Saul, that David took an harp and played with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him.
Okay, so Saul felt better. He was refreshed. But was his judgment over? No. It was only for a moment you could feel good. Same as we. When we feel a certain way, we want to play a certain type of music, it's only for that moment. Passover. Lo and behold, I didn't realize it was only for that moment. You know, Friday evening was beautiful. Saturday evening was spectacular. Sunday was like, all right, we gotta get on the bus, gotta go home. You know, reflecting, soaking it in. But Monday, oh man, yo, I'm in captivity. So let's jump to 1 Samuel chapter 17. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So we're going to go, I know we're going to go into the David Goliath story. I know you guys heard about it so many times, especially you kids and everything, but there's certain things I want to point out. So we're going to go through it. Go ahead.
Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and were gathered together at Shokar.
Okay, jump down to verse 4.
Verse 4. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulder. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him.
Okay, move down to verse 10.
Verse 10. And the Philistines said, I defy the army of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together.
Okay, so they had a standoff between the Philistine and Israelites. Saul army. Go ahead.
When Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse. And he had 8 sons, and the man went among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to the battle. And the names of the 3 sons that went to the battle were Eliab, the firstborn, and the next unto him Abinadab, and the third Shammah.
Okay, so remember, these are the 3 brothers that the Most High rejected. Why? Their heart wasn't there because they were already soldiers. They were commanders in the army. So the Most High knew he can't work with them. These men thought, they're skillful. They're in the military. So the Most High knew he couldn't work with them because they already have their mind set on the positions that they were. I'll give an example for myself. As head of security in a big event, how did I know? I don't know anything about being in security. I never did law enforcement. I spent too much time avoiding them, but now to be part of them, now I ask myself, how did I get in that position? And I see that. So the Most High couldn't choose these men. But instead he chose David. Continue.
Verse 14. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistines drew near morning and evening and presented themselves 40 days.
Okay.
And
Go ahead, continue.
And Jesse said unto David his sons, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this pitch corn and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses unto the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge.
So David was just being used back and forth. He was a musician for Saul. He still has to go home and do errands for his father. He had to take care of the sheep. Young man. It just hit me. That's what we need to do with our young people. Especially our teenagers. We need to start putting them to work, doing errands. Yeah, I think we got to come together and try to get all the young people here one time so we can start doing that. Yeah. You know, because that's how they're going to learn. Them sitting down on their phone, on the internet, on their PS4, it's not really helping them.
That's right.
We need to be making them do the work that the Levites had, the high priest had the Levites doing. If I'm cooking dinner and I'm doing all this, that ox needs to be washing the dishes afterwards.
Okay.
He's supposed to be taking the garbage out. Oh man, we gotta put this in order. That's how they learn. Jesse did it with his son.
That's right.
That's how they're gonna get prepared. All of them. The day they turn 12, they need to start working in the home.
That's right.
We need to make them sit down and give them all the bills and say, listen, calculate all these bills. Tell me how much is what, And after that, I want you to call the company. Yeah, you got to start doing that.
No, seriously.
Yeah, we need to start supervising them for the work that we do at home. All praises for Most High for that.
Mm-hmm. Nah, okay. Serious. It's true.
Where we at right
Verse 20.
Verse 20, yeah.
No, matter of fact, verse 19.
Okay, verse 19.
Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah fighting with Philistines. Mm-hmm. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with a keeper and took and went as Jesse had commanded him. And he came to the trench as the host was going forth to the fight and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army.
I jump down to 23.
Verse 23. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spake according to the same word. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter.
All
and
right.
make.
Sorry, move down to verse 31, same chapter. Just want to get to a point.
Mm-hmm. Verse 31. Mm-hmm. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fall because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with the Philistines.
So David was fearless. One of the reasons why I think David was such fearless is because he dealt with animals. Okay? Because we're today, I don't know, a lot of us are afraid to deal with animals. Let's just keep it real. If we see a sheep walking down the road, first thing we're going to do, we're going to call the ASPCA, we're going to call the cops. We're not going to come near that animal, that sheep. Okay? Continue. Let me show you why. Go ahead.
Verse 33.
Right,
and Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against the Philistines to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth.
Mm-hmm.
And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep.
I kept sheep. Go ahead.
And there came a lion and a bear,
mm-hmm.
and took a lamb from the flock.
Mm-hmm.
And I went after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him.
Okay, so how many people can do that? How many of us could do that? If you have a little dog, and you walking him, and a pit bull somehow just come running and pick up your dog, how many of you guys could go and try to get that dog pit bull out of the mouth?
Man, some of y'all taking off y'all shoes and hitting the dog. Y'all not.
If they have the courage to do that. But David was fearless. I bet you a lot of them would be scared to even kill a chicken and eat it. Okay? We got to start learning these things. That's why David wasn't afraid of Goliath. He dealt with a bear. He dealt with a lion. So even though he might have been in a lower state, but he was getting that training. Not knowing when he's going to use it. That's it, 35. Okay, good. Now let's go to 1 Samuel 21. Now, 1 Samuel 21. Okay, yeah, 1 Samuel 21 and 10.
All right, we're in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 21, verse 10. And David arose and fled that day for fear of Saul, and went to Achish, the king of Gath. And the servant of Achish said unto him, Is not this David the king of the land? Did they not sing one to another of him in dances?
Oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, we're right there. So now, this is when after David is on the run from Saul. After Saul found out that David, when he sent David to war, David overcome the war, and people was praising David. All right? So go ahead, continue.
Did they not sing one to another of him in dances, saying Saul had slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s? And David laid up these words in his heart.
Okay, so now, this king heard about everybody praising David for how many men he slaughtered, more than Saul. And of course, this really made Saul angry, because he already had that spirit in him. Now David is just escalating his anger to the point where everybody hears about it. So now he's with a king. Go ahead, continue.
Verse 12. And David laid up these words in his heart and was so afraid of Achish, the king of Gath. And he changed his behavior before him and framed himself mad in their hands.
So now, David hearing that, he changed his behavior now. He became a madman. Because the word frame means to really show humility. Don't tell me about that. Don't tell me about I killed 10,000 people. Because this is what got me in the situation in the first place. Continue reading.
And framed up himself mad in their hands, and scrambled on the door of the gate.
Now he was out of here. He said, let me get out of here. I'm a madman. Go ahead.
And let his spittle fall down upon his
Even
beard.
his spit was falling down on his beard. He had to show them. This was David. Let's go.
Then said Achish unto his servants, Lo, ye see the man is mad.
See, he's mad.
Wherefore then thou have ye brought him to me?
Why you brought him to me? This guy's a madman.
Have I need of a madman, that ye have brought this fellow to play the madman in my presence? Shall this fellow come into my house?
Yeah, he couldn't believe this is David. But David's showing a sign of humility. I don't want to hear that. He's on the run. Go ahead, chapter 22.
1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 1. And David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him, and every one.
Okay, so now David escaped and he stayed in the cave. On the run in the cave. He's at a low estate. How many of us could do that? Be on a run and go hide in an abandoned building for a while. Some of us would be like, I'm going back home, man. If they catch me, they catch me. I want my bed. This floor is too hard. No, not David. You in the lower estate. If you got to sleep on the ground, that's where the Most High put you. That's where you got to humble yourself. Just make sure you have your Bible with you. So you could lay down with it on your chest. Go ahead, continue.
Verse 2. No.
Yeah,
Yes, verse 2, yes. And everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discontent gathered themselves unto him. And he became a captain over them, and there were with him about 400 men.
So 400 men, they were in debt. They were distressed. They left their family. They're all in a cave. All in a bottomless state. And they made David his captain. Made David their captain. Because David was able to handle it. So they learning from David. They said, man, we got to live out here in the cave. All right. If you could do it, we'll do it with you. David's family heard. So David's family is going to come to visit him in the cave. But also, David wrote a few of his Psalms while he was in this distressed situation, while he was in a lower state. And in this particular setting, if you go to Psalms 53, I believe that's what David wrote, Psalm 53. No, 57. Let's jump in it for a second. Psalm 57.
Okay, we're in the book of Psalms, chapter 57. To the musician, Altakin Michtam of David, when he fled from Saul in the cave.
Yes, that's it.
Be merciful unto me, O Lord. Be merciful unto me, for my soul trusteth in thee. Yea, in the shadow of thy wings will I make my refuge until these calamities be overpassed.
So was David complaining about his situation? No. He was humbling himself. He was writing prayer to the Most High. He was praying to the Most High in that position. And sometimes that's what we must, of course, we hear all the time and then we forget. I'm telling you, man, Passover made me forget a lot of things. So when we're in this lower state, when we're under the totem pole, we just got to continue praying to the Most High and just being thankful. And for him being merciful. Taking the beating, taking the whipping. David is being chastised too. But he is taking it with humility. All right, continue on. We'll go down to 6.
Verse 2. I will cry unto the power most high, unto Ahijah that performeth all things before me. He shall send from heaven and save me from the reproach of him that would swallow me up. Salah. The Most High shall send forth his mercy and his truth. My soul is among lions, and I lie even among them that are set on fire, even the sons of men, whose teeth are spears and arrows, and their tongues a sharp sword.
So these are kind of men that David is rolling with. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Be thou exalted, O Ahijah, above the heavens. Let thy glory be above all the earth.
Still giving the Most High's praises.
Khan.
Go ahead.
They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They have digged a pit before me, into the midst whereof they are fallen themselves. Salah.
Yeah, continue. Finish that up.
Verse 7. My heart is fixed, O Ahijah. My heart is fixed. I will sing and give praise. Awake up, my glory. Awake, psalteries and harp. I myself will awake early. I will praise thee, O Ahijah, among the people. I will sing unto thee among the nations. For thy mercy is great unto the heavens, and thy truth unto the clouds. Verse 11. Be thou exalted, O Ahiah, above the heavens. Let thy glory be above the earth. Amen.
Amen. So David's still giving the Most High all praises. He's not murmuring. He's not complaining. He's being humble. Let's move on to 2 Samuel 2, 1-4. Now, we're going to do a lot of reading today. It's going to be quick, but there's going to be a lot of reading. Go ahead. 2 Samuel 2? Yeah, chapter 2, verse 1-4. Okay. Is it? Yeah.
All right. 2 Samuel chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass after this, that David acquired of the Most High, saying, Shall I go in any of the cities of Judah? And the Most High said unto him, Go up. And David said, Whither shall I go up? And he said, Unto Hebron. So David went up thither, and his 2 wives also, Ahinoam, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, Nabal's wife, Carmelite. Verse 3. And his men that were with him did David bring up, even men with his household, and they dwelt in the cities of Hebron. Verse 4. And the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying, that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul.
Okay, so now David is crowned king of Judah. David just rose to the top. Now he's king. Okay, he took the position of Saul. So we're going one more verse to show, even as a king, David still had humility.
Verse 5.
Now we're going to go to 2 Samuel 16, 5-13. So now David is king. Is it chapter what? Chapter 16.
Okay.
Oh, let me get there.
The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 16,
Verse 5.
starting at verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
And when King David came to Bahurim, behold, thence came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shemel, the son of Gorah. He came forth and cursed still as he came. And he cast stones at David.
See that? David is king. And here comes one of Saul's family, Shemai, cursing at David, throwing stones at him. Go ahead.
And he cast stones at David and at all the servants of King David. And all the people and all the mighty men were on the right hand and on his left.
Mm-hmm.
And thus said Shemai, when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Beljah. Verse 8. And the Most High hath returned upon thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And the Most High hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom, thy son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man.
So this brother hated David. Really just have this really hate for David. Curse at him, spit at him. Did we get to that part? You spat at him, right? All right, continue reading.
Verse 9. Then said Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king, why should this dead dog curse my lord the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head.
So David's soldier wants to go and just take his head off. How dare you disrespect the king? Go ahead.
And the king said, What have I to do with you, ye son of Zeruiah?
So David was rebuking him. Go ahead.
So let him curse, because the Most High had said unto him, Curse David. Who shall then say, Wherefore hast thou done so?
So he said the Most High allow him to curse David, to curse him. Because this happened after David committed adultery, got another man killed. So David is accepting that punishment. Somebody threw a stone at him, boop, hit his head. I gotta take it. It's a transgression I did. That's humility. He could easily order for this man to be killed. 1, 2, 3, blap. But no. He took the humility. Go ahead.
And David said to Abishai and to all his servants, Behold, my son, which came forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do it? Let him alone, and let him curse, for the Most High hath bidden him. And it may be that the Most High will look on my afflictions, and that the Most High will require me good for his cursing this day.
So David knew that Most High sent him. This is punishment. Most High will use others to chastise you. Go ahead.
And as David and his men went by the way, Shimei went along on the hillside over against him, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him, and cast dust.
Okay, so he just continue.
And the king and all the people.
Okay, no, that's it right now. Okay, I just wanted to show that, when you're in a bottomless state, you take time to reflect, and you go into the scrolls, and you go into the laws, you go into the Proverbs, you go into the epistles, and you go into the Exodus. Your transgressions start creeping up on you. They be like, oh man, okay, this is the reason why. It's exposing the sin that you committed. And once you understand it, and you repent, and you deal with the chastisement, then the Most High could work with you. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everybody in Israel is in lower state. There's some of us, too, that are in a comfortable situation. Okay? Some of us still are homeowners, are finances, you got a nice car, you go to, a little vacation, okay? But this still applies to you. What you got to do is, you got to make sure that you don't transgress so you don't lose it. Because you can. And that's the reason why a lot of Most High is going to be sending some of us in that situation, so he don't want them to lose it. So we've seen the humility on David. We've seen the humility on Moses. Both shepherds keeping sheep. Most High trained them. Now let's go real quickly to Job, because everybody could identify with Job. But I just want to go a little bit into Job. Job 1:1-6.
The book of Job, chapter 1, starting at verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 of she-donkeys, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east.
So Job had it good. Job's family was prestigious, had wealth. But he was a good man. He was a righteous man. But I'm going to point out one of his errors. Go ahead.
And his sons went and feast in their house, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters, and eat and drink with them.
So what were they doing? They would do what? Yeah, they were celebrating their birthdays. Celebrating their birthday, having a feast on their birthdays. Now, as a father, how did Job deal with this? Go ahead.
And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed the Most High in their hearts. Thus did Job continually.
So now every year, his son's having these birthday parties. What Job doing? Doing sacrifices. So now the Most High is looking at this. What is this, man? Get control of your kids. Don't give me no sacrifice. That's enough.
God.
These kids were being disobedient and rebellious because they know that, you know what? Daddy's going to sacrifice for me. Let's celebrate birthday, drink. And that's all Job was doing. But as a position of authority, what was he supposed to do? He was supposed to stop them from doing that. So you don't have to continue doing sacrifices. But these young men feel like their daddy had all this cattle. He could afford to do sacrifices. But then the Most High took it away from him. And took them away too. Let's jump down all the way to Job chapter 42 and 1. So, you know, throughout the whole book, Job was being afflicted. But he was also humbling himself. Go ahead.
The book of Job, chapter 42, verse 1. Then Job answered the Most High and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that thou no thoughts can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not.
Okay, move down verse 7.
Verse 7. And it was so, that after the Most High had spoken these words unto Job, the Most High said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thy 2 friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job had.
So these guys was, at the end of the day, was giving Job bad counseling. Okay? Bad counseling. And that's what we got to watch out for too. Watch out for bad counseling, especially for people in the world. Go ahead.
Verse 8. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering. And my servant Job shall pray for me. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of him the thing which is right, like my servant Job.
Okay, move on to verse 11.
Verse 11. Then came there unto him all his brethren, and all his sisters, and all they that had been in his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in his house, and they bemoaned him, and comfort him over all the evil that the Most High had brought over him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold.
So now the Most High is restoring Job. Okay? Once Job was in a lower state and exerted humility, now the Most High said, okay, you did your time, so now it's time for me to start restoring you. Go ahead.
Verse 12. So for the Most High bless the latter end of Job more than his beginning, For he had 14,000 sheep.
Now, before he had 7,000 sheep, but now he had 14,000. Most High doubled him up. Go ahead.
And 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she donkeys. And he had also 7 sons and 3 daughters.
Even his children was restored. He had other children. Go ahead.
And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Keren-Happuch. And in all the land were no woman found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After
Okay, so now Job has been restored, and now he has these new children. Now, you think Job is going to let these children celebrate their birthday? No. He's not. Okay? So, like I say, even those who are in high position, you're going to have those that's able to hear the word of the Most High in their position, and then you're going to have those who can't hear the word of the Most High. But regardless of where the Most High want to take you, he has to bring you low. He has to bring you down. He has to teach you all over again. Okay? Now we're going to jump into the disciples. Let's go about the rich man. Luke 18 and 18. Let's go a little New Testament now. Luke 18:18-25.
Luke chapter 18, verse 18. And a certain ruler asked him, saying, Good master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And Yeshua said unto him, Why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is Ahiah. Thou knowest the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not murder. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother. And he said, All these have I kept from my youth up.
So now this rich guy said, yo, I kept all of this. That's nothing. I could continue to keep it. Go ahead.
Now when Yeshua heard these things, he said unto him, Yet lackest thou one thing.
There's one thing you need to do that you lack. Let's see. Go ahead.
Sell all that thou hast, and distribute unto the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come, follow me.
So Christ said, in order for you to follow me, yeah, you're in a high position, you're a ruler, but sell all you have and bring yourself down. Because that's the only way you're going to understand my doctrine. That's the only way you're going to understand the message from the Father. You're not going to understand it having your wealth. You have to be retrained, relearned. You got to come down. Go ahead.
Verse 23. And when he heard this, he was very sorrowful.
He's like, oh, wait a minute. No, go ahead.
For he was very rich. And when Yeshua saw that he was very sorrowful, he said, How hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of the Most High.
So it's going to be hard for some of those to come into the kingdom of the Most High. Even when I was doing good, changing cars, going from a Lexus to a Beamer, a brother would come by and say, do you know Christ? I'd be like, yeah, he's in my heart, and I just move away. Okay? I had to enjoy my lavish things. Wouldn't hear the prophet of the Most High speaking. Would drive by, brothers back then preaching. I'll probably park my car in front of them and say, yo, please make sure y'all don't crowd of people around my car. I wouldn't get the word. So the Most High had to take everything, bring me down to a lower state. And now I'm, trying to find some kind of wisdom, understand what's going on, and came across GOCC. I said, all right, let me go over here, man. Maybe they'll, give me some answers. Of course, walking to GOCC and the elders going over the laws, and I'm like, what? Man, I done this? I'll turn around, look at the door. Maybe it's time for me to leave because it's just too much. But all praises, man. I heard the word of Most High and continue.
God, praise the Most High.
And that's what we have to do. Let's move on to John 19:39 to 40. Here's another rich man.
What you guys there say, Khan? The book of John, the gospel, according to John, chapter 19, starting at verse 39.
You're right, 39.
Verse 39.
Mm-hmm.
And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Yeshua by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100 pounds.
Now, Nicodemus was a rich man, but he's coming to talk to Christ at night. Why can't you come talk to him in the daytime? Why you gotta be sneaking around, climbing windows? Why? Let's go back to John 3:1.
We're in the book of John, chapter 3, starting at verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews.
Oh, so that's why you were sneaking around. You were a Pharisee. You were a ruler of the Jews. In the daytime, you with the Pharisees. They're talking about Christ, looking for Christ. But in the nighttime, you're sneaking in and just trying to understand Christ. It would have been difficult for him to give up what he have to follow Christ. So he was playing, both sides of the fence. Imagine right now, T.D. Jakes coming down to our church or coming down to learn this truth. He knows it's out there. He knows. And I bet you right now he's probably going to YouTube and say, okay, let me see what these Israelites are talking about. Put in my lessons. All of them. Except for $1. They know we are here. There's too many of us waking up. How could they not know? But they're not going to be willing to come down and give up all that they have to learn this truth. Me and Ak was talking about that too the other day. We said, imagine Jay-Z, Jigga man come through the door. Like, yo, Jigga, yeah, I heard this truth, man. I heard you Israelites kicking some knowledge. Like, okay, Jigga, how are you? Well, you got to sit back here in the back. He said, what? But Jigga man, I got to be in the front. I'll be like, what? Jigga who? Jigga what? You got to sit back here, bro. You got to learn this thing over. You can't expect to just come in and want to go sit in the front. That's for baptized men. But they say, oh, man, you know what? I'll be back, man. This is too much. Can they do it? No. They're not going to take a chance to bring themselves down. But they can't stop this prick, as Christ would say. Can't stop it. So, Nicodemus couldn't just bring himself to do that. Even, the disciples who did give up for Christ, to follow Christ, they still had a little hard time. If you go to Luke, we're at 18:28.
Luke chapter 18, verse 28. When you guys there, say con. Then Peter said, Lo, we have left all and followed thee.
See, Peter's not saying that. Christ, we left all and follow you. Remember, Peter was not just a regular fisherman. That was his business. He had a family. But then he gave it all. He brought himself down. Now he's moving around with Christ in the wilderness. He had to bring himself down. The same way David had his men in the cave with him, now Christ has his disciples in the wilderness with him. Go ahead.
Verse 29. And he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house or parents or brethren or wife or children for the kingdom of the Most High's sake. Verse 30. Who shall not receive manyfold more in this present time, and in the world to come life everlasting?
So Christ is letting Peter know, listen, don't worry about it. The Most High is going to give you more in this lifetime and the everlasting life. That's where faith come in.
Come.
So, whenever we're at that Lord's state, got to continue building our faith. Staying in the Word, staying within the laws. Because a lot of disciples, they were professional men. Matthew, he was a tax collector. Christ said, hey, come, follow me. And he just gave it up, follow him. Luke. Luke was a physician. He was a doctor. Gave up his profession. So Christ knew the men he was choosing. Of course, they needed somebody like Luke, somebody, well-versed in taking care of people. So, in hindsight, even though we're in captivity and we're at the tail end of it, as long as we stay humble and show humility and obedience to the Most High, we will get restored. As long as we're breathing, I believe as long as I'm breathing, then the Most High is going to do his work for me and each and every one. Because he's working on us right now. Because right now, all of you guys here, man, the Most High is working with you for a leadership position, because there's a lot of Israelites that needs to be waking up out there. Pretty soon, some of you will have to go travel somewhere. But right now, this is the best time to start learning this truth and get into this book. We just go to two more, and then wrap it up. Let's go to Ephesians 6:1. Yeah, Ephesians 6:1.
All right. You guys there, say con. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. Children, obey your parents.
Hold on. Nah, that wasn't it. Yeah, that wasn't it. Ephesians 6. All right, you know what? Let's just go to let's go to Revelation 1, 3, and 3. Ended there. That wasn't it. But anyhow.
1, 3.
Yeah, Revelation 1, 3, and 3. Yeah, it's Revelation 3.
Oh.
1 and 3.
Chapter 1, verse 3?
Yeah, chapter 1, verse 3. Revelation.
Revelation chapter 1, starting at verse 1. And the revelation of Yeshua.
Let's just go straight to 3.
All right.
Just want to end it there.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 3.
Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand.
So the time is at hand. So if we continue to read the work of the Most High and the prophets and the law, we're gonna be blessed. We're gonna move from our lower state because almost the end is near. So it's the perfect time. All right, so let's give the Most High a hand. All right, so all praises, it's just a little small testimony of why, doing a reflection after Passover, So if anybody got any questions, feel free to ask. If you got some precepts you want to share, you can do so. No questions? Everything was straight to the point? Well, all praises. Huh? Oh, we do have one. Oh, okay, well, it's a young one. They'll come with the hard questions. I got my officers here.
She wants to know, why did Moses want to kill men?
Why did who?
Moses want to kill the men.
Wanted to kill who? Korah?
No, the men in Exodus. The Egyptian, yeah.
Oh, well, because Moses didn't like the way these men was treating the Israelite people. Moses got a little compassion for him because they was really abusing the children of Israel. But then he felt, very bad afterwards. And the Most High punished him for that. Okay? So, it's just the Most High teaching him that that's not something for anybody to do. Take another person's life, no matter what the situation is. Okay?
Good evening.
Who that? Oh.
I'd like to know what is the right way that you should deal with your birthday?
What is the what?
The right way that you should deal with your birthday. Normally, that you celebrate it and all this. Is that the right way?
Well, we ain't truly, we ain't no right way or wrong way to do your birthday. It's just that celebrating your birthday is like you're exalting yourself. Okay? And then when you continue to exalt yourself, then you become to feel like you're better than most. And of course, we know that it's Babylonian. So in the world, that's what people do. Celebrate birthday, have a cake, party, festive, But if you want to recognize somebody's time, on this earth, then, certain days you could have like dinners with your family and, keep it at a minimum. You know what I mean? So, I can't really tell you that because I don't celebrate my birthday, or even when I was in the world, I ain't even thinking about my birthday. So, I don't even know how to do it. But, when you have children, it was a little difficult because that's what they're all exposed to. It took me some time to sort of wean my son out of it. And I did like what Elder Rawchaa said at Passover, is like the young kids, we got to praise them because they're not going to have the opportunity to celebrate their birthday. So if they don't do it, then it's not something they're going to want later on. And that's what the example we got to start setting up for our children, So yeah, if anybody want to answer that, they can. Yeah.
When you get the chance, everyone, there's a good lesson by Elder Rawchaa where he breaks down certain stages in men's lives where they increase to righteousness and the Most High exalts them. So there's certain ages where like 3, 9, 10, and so on and so forth, where you can celebrate with the Most High is revealing more things to you. Not celebrating your birthday, but celebrating with the Most High is exalting you. So I would suggest you guys to watch that lesson.
Yeah, Khan. That's right. Okay, any more questions? That's it? One more. Two more.
The water for the lesson. So my question was kind of on that point, not so much about us celebrating our birthdays, but how do we know that Job's children were celebrating birthdays and not just reveling and partying up on like I guess common parties, so to speak. You know what I mean?
All right, we can go back to it again. That's Job 1. Job. Hold on, let me get there. I read it. This is Job 1 and 4. And his sons went and feast in their houses, every one his day. So we're talking about his day. Everyone his day. That gives us the inclination that that's their birthday party, their birthday, their day. Okay, it's not a feast day or anything else. It's just their day. Okay? All right.
Shalom, brothers and sisters.
So.
I just wanted to touch on what you said about when you came back from Passover, you had that realization. It's like, oh, I'm not in that great place with my people anymore. But like, I feel the same way. Like this day of the week is like my day of the week, and I look forward to it. And then when they come back, I'm like, I gotta go back to work now. But like one little thing that I always think about, like when I'm at work, or like when I want to like wallow in my like self pity and all that, is I don't remember the scripture. If you guys know it, you can bring it out. I think it's in Galatians. It's happy are we Israel, for we know the things that are pleasing to the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think about stuff like that because a lot of people don't have the knowledge that I have, and I'm blessed to have that knowledge. So it's like, even though I'm in captivity, but now I know what to do, and I know how to follow my Father to get out of that and to have eternal life when that time does come.
All right, Khan. That's true. You know, I mean, sometimes we think that because we're in captivity, that is still no hope for us. No. A lot of stuff could be restored to us while we're in captivity, especially with preparations. Sometimes a lot of us could be in debt. Okay, so the Most High is going to work certain things out for you as long as you follow His commandment. Okay, because right now I feel like I'm a hermit. Okay, because during the week I be inside my house, and the only time I come out is when I have to go meet a client or when I have to come to Shabbat or go to the store. But other times I'm just like sticking my head out and just like, okay, let me go back in there, just so I won't transgress in something or be pulled into something. So, all praises for that. All right, I see somebody else had a question. Oh, okay.
Praise the Most High for another Shabbat. It's definitely like right on what you were saying, because I just felt like heavy when I came home. I had a certain conversation, and I was just like, man, like these people are hurt, we suffering. And something I just been dwelling on, just meditating on, is Lamentations 3, from 19 to 25. If you could read it, please.
Right, hold on. Lamentation.
Yeah.
a second. Let me get there. I got one hand moving this. Let me get there. You said Lamentation 3?
19 to 25.
Okay. This is the book of Lamentation, chapter 3, verse 19. Remembering my afflictions and my misery, the wormwood and the gall, my soul had them still in remembrance and is humble in me. This I recall of my mind, therefore have I hope. It is of the Lord, it is of the Lord's mercy that we are not consumed, because his compassion fail us not. They are new every morning, great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, said my soul. Therefore will I hope in him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. So go on, sis. Yeah. Praise the Most High for that. Okay, we have another question.
In the beginning, when the baptized brothers go up to the sand and they state their tribe, how do you guys know what tribe they're from?
Well, we go by what they call a 12 tribe chart. Okay, going back to Genesis 49, and based up a lot of the characteristics and different precepts within the books would tell us what tribe we are from. Okay, a lot of us, know that we're from the tribe of Judah, and one of the prophets said that Judah will be at the neck of the enemy. So, right here in America, Judah is the one that is in this country, but in high position against those who oppresses us. Okay, so there's so many different characteristics. Levi and Simeon, they on the island. And the scripture said, Levi and Simeon are brothers. Cruelty will be their habitation. When they mean that cruelty of instruments, that means that Levi and Simeon will be having all types of voodoo and different types of, witchcraft. So in Haiti, which we call the land of Levi, and some parts of Trinidad and some other parts of the island, those who are dealing with witchcraft and voodoo, we know that they come from the bloodline of Levi, and Simeon, which is Dominican Republic, deal with Santeria. Okay, but they're all the same thing. When it comes down to it, still witchcraft. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, sis, when you look at the Genesis 49, our father Jacob basically told us how we would be able to identify ourselves in their last days, the latter times. So that's not discrediting our brothers and sisters who are scattered throughout the four corners, showing that basically this last prophecy was to show, the bulk of Israel, like where the prophecies would really stick, how we would be able to identify our people in the last days, basically in the new world. So, when Christ also said when he returns, he's going to separate the sheep from the goat. So right now it's we just preaching the gospel using Genesis 49. And when Christ come, he'll separate those who's his, you understand? And who's not his. So, we'll just keep the faith for now and until Christ return.
So when you say that you're from the Levi tribe, are you making an assumption, or do you know for sure?
Well, listen, I know for sure because, the Levites were supposed to priesthood. Okay, and then one thing that I did come across in the book of Malachi, they said the Levites, I gave you the oracles, I gave you the ordinances. But because you you transgress on my ordinances, at the latter time you will be eating dung. Now, I know in Haiti, a lot of places, that's what they're doing. They're eating what they call mud pies, okay? Made out of mud. So I know for sure that, it's Levites and different places. Now, you also should go into like secular history. There's a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. Have you read that book? Okay. It's an easy reading, okay? You should, try to pick up this book, From Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph Windsor. And he breaks down how the Israelites left Jerusalem, left the east, and went into West Africa, okay? So that'll give you more little understanding. So, there's a lot of information out there for secular history. Okay, we have a brother. You want to answer her question? Mm-hmm.
Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter, it combines with Genesis 49. So it gives you a lot of information where you can see the regions that they are in. Basically, like it tells you about the tribe of Asher, that their feet will be dipped in oil. Those are the Venezuelans because there's a very large oil reserve down there, right? So it don't call the place out exactly, but the region or what certain things will be happening. That's how you know too.
Mm-hmm. Go on. All right, sis. So yeah, try to get that book. Okay, and also when we deal with Israel, we deal with the father's lineage. Okay, not the mother. Wherever the father's from. All right. Now, for me, an example, I'm glad y'all point that out. I was born in Haiti, so when I came in truth, I thought I was Levi. But then when my dad passed, right, I found out that my grandfather wasn't from Haiti. He was from St. Kitts. So St. Kitts, it's like Benjamin there. You understand? So then now that makes me Benjamin because I have to go with my father's father. Okay? So that's how it worked out. All right, last questions. Go ahead. No. Why do you ask that?
Because you said that the Israelites moved out of Jerusalem to West Africa, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the majority of slaves were taken from.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That means that they were purposely kicked out of West Africa because some people who realized that they weren't Israelites wanted the Israelites out.
Well, wait a minute. You said some people wanted or didn't want the Israelite out.
Yeah, they wanted to be separated. Like, I think they wanted the Israelites out.
Right. Who wanted the Israelite out? And no. Non-Israelites, correct. So in West Africa, before Israelite came in there, you had a population of what they call Hamites, okay, or Cushites, right? But then when Israel came in, Israel established communities there in West Africa for a period of time. But then when they start making a confederacy with the Romans and the Spanish, they're not going to send their own people into slavery. They're going to send the other people who's new, who look differently, who they knew that they was Israelite. You know what I mean? So that's, that's what, that's what happened. Because also, like he said, and if you go into the book of Deuteronomy, one of the curses is that you will be sent to the far corners of the earth by ships. You ever read that part? Okay. All right, so you need to go read the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, the whole chapter. Okay? That will give you a little more understanding. Because were there anybody else that was born in a slave ship that you could think of? No. Well, they won't say that in the history book, but we're giving you information where you can go look Like I told you, that book, From Babylon to Timbuktu, is a great book, okay, that gives you information about it. And then go read Deuteronomy chapter 28, the whole chapter. And also, he said Genesis 49, okay? And like the elder back there said, Deuteronomy 33. You got to read all of it you got to understand, the Bible is like a piece of puzzle. So you have to search out the information and connect them. You understand? Okay. All right, somebody have a comment. Good. I'll take comments now.
I'm not a child pastor. I share the same sentiments you shared about Passover.
Oh.
I was really in awe. I had never, ever, ever seen black people, Israelites, dressed so nicely. They are so beautiful. And I like what Elder Rawchaa said when he talked about building a nation.
Mm-hmm.
And he lists all the traits that makes a nation. And we have all of that trait. And I am very pleased with that. And then he also said that we should support each other. And then I was also thrilled to see from one end of the convention center was all Israelite business people have their own businesses, selling to each other. So that I was moved by that. What else I want to bring out? Because you said when you came back, reality hit you. Because for the 2 days we were in a bubble, right? We were in a good, safe bubble.
Con.
So Psalms 133, you could read it, and I believe that unequivocally, this is the reason why we all feel like this when we left that safe environment where we are worshiping the Most High God and singing and loving on one another, the food and everything, and the scripture truly reveals that.
Psalms 133?
From verse 1.
Okay. Psalms 133, verse 1. Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor my eyes lofty. Neither do I exercise myself in great matters, or in things too high for me. Oh, 133. Oh, Salakia. Okay. Psalms 133, verse 1. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountain of Zion. For there the Lord commanding the blessing, even life forevermore. That's true. I'm on Khan for that. Yeah. Any more comments? Well, all praises. Give the Most High a hand.
And real quick before we conclude, just to add on to the sister's question concerning the tribes, that is a good question. And as far as the prophecies go, sis, in the scriptures that brothers brought out, as far as Genesis 49 and Deuteronomy 33, the scriptures give Israel a pretty much enough information to find a majority of us. But like Hazak said, we are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So there is Levi in Africa. There's Simeon in Africa. You could find Ephraim in some places in China or the Philippines. We're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So why I wanted to add on to this is because of the inconsistency of being able to find specific tribes throughout the earth, it could be a stumbling block to some. And people have left the truth because it's like, oh, well, you said only people in Haiti are Levi. There's Levites in Africa and stuff like that. So it's to be understood that the Most High gave enough information for us to find one another and link with each other in the last days. And when Christ comes, he's going to be like, hey, people who thought they were Gad their whole life, you're going to say, hey, brother, you Judah. And people who thought they were Simeon, hey, brother, you Naphtali. So it's to say that when Christ comes, he's going to separate us. What's more important is that, listen, if your forefathers were on slave ships and went through those curses, that you're Israel. The specific tribe that you're from, it's not so much important, but that we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, come back to Christ, get baptized, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. You understand that? All right. So all praise to the Most High.
Con. All praises to the Most High for the edification and for the lesson that was brought forth. You know, yeah, coming back from Passover was really a downer for a lot of you guys. Not me. I'm still on vacation. My downer start on Sunday, so I'm good. Nah, but all praise to the Most High. You know, that's a lot of things that we gotta still deal with. You know, and what Officer Waldorf brought forth about, you know, starting out in a lower state. I know a lot of us before we came to the truth, we could attest to that. I mean, the Most High stripped everything from me. I thought the next step for me was homelessness, the rate I was going, but the Most High kept me, you know, and you know, restored me, you know, as I made the choice and drew the line in the sand, right? So all praises to the Most High. I also want to encourage the brothers and sisters online too. You know, of course, you're getting a lot from the online situation where you know, the Most High allows us to come before you and to bring forth lessons. But I'm trying to tell you guys, there's a lot that you guys are missing out on outside of the online thing. You know, there's a lot of unity and fellowship and you know, brothers and sisters that's in the body and things that we do outside of online streaming that you guys should be a part of. And we're in a time where the Most High is really gathering. And I was also saying this during the Passover, like there's not a room in the world that could hold all of us. and the room that we was in couldn't even hold the little bit that was there, but it was a lot. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I encourage you, brothers and sisters, find a local gathering, local GOCC gathering in your respective areas, in your city, in your town. And if you're not there, you know, reach out to the elders so that way the elders could set something up in your area, so that way you don't miss out on all of the information that's going to be coming out that may not be available online, because this online situation is not going to be here for a long time. So, you know, this is here for now, but what you need to do is link in. Don't be afraid. Don't feel like you could just be on your own and do this by yourself. Christ did not die for one person or for himself. He died for the nation. So gather in, come in and build a nation. All right. So like I say every week, you could have been anywhere on a Friday night, but you're here with the Gathering of Christ Church, and we appreciate and love you all, brothers and sisters. Until we meet again next week, Most High willing, we'll see you. We're going to bid you all Godspeed. And we're going to make room for the announcements. And we're also going to do communion. Are we going to do the communion after the announcements, or how you going to do it? After the announcements? All right. So we're going to have a communion, you know, as we end the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I pray that you all had, you know, a wonderful week and a wonderful Passover as well. Okay. All right. So Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, and see you next week, Most High willing.
Shalom and Barakatham. Peace and blessings. We are the Gathering of Christ Church, New York City, a family who adheres to the sacred laws of the earth administered to Christ down to his father's children of Israel, whom are scattered abroad. We would like to invite you to join us in our law classes, which are held every Sabbath beginning at 1 p.m. during the winter season and 2 p.m. during the summer season, under the tutelage of Regional Elder Gabar and leadership. Since nations are built on families, our focus is to awaken our people, bring them back to their original heritage which was once forgotten, and to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, together as one under Christ. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
somebody did say put the sound up. So that's that, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I did to have the sound. Now look. Testing. So look, the sound is coming through here, right?
Yeah.
But it's not coming here. So now this is what you did the out. Right. So this is what I did.
Put the left and the right out, and then you came into the one. Yeah.
I just went mono. Test. Test. Test.
Sis had a question.
So you did left and right side? Oh no, I was coming through here. I was coming through the main out. And I was taking.
Came through the main out.
Test this one.
1, 2.
1, 2.
Wait. From the main out.
I want to see how it goes.
1, 2. Okay. You came out the out, and then this is going where? Into here.
Right. So what's this? I don't even need this. As a matter of fact, let me try this. I don't even need to come out from this.
You was coming out from this in attempt to hear this. That's what that was for.
Oh yeah, play.
Test.
You know what it was
Test.
It wasn't catching the mic. It was catching the speaker.
Right.
It was catching the mic coming out the speaker.
Yeah. So let me see. Hold on, let me see something. Let me turn these down.
1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. You not eating nothing? All right. See you tomorrow. Water. Have a great night.
Test it. Now it's not coming up. Test it.
Yeah, it was this wire picking
Test
it up.
it.
It was the other wire going through here.
Yeah.
That's when I caught it.
No, one of them is coming. Testing. Hit yours.
It is, but it's not coming through the speaker.
So I gotta go back left and right. So this is what I was doing.
I got an idea again. I got an idea. Again.
Now let's try it. Hold on. Test.
Yeah, I got an idea again. I got
Test.
Keep game, Mark.
Wait, how come I'm not even coming out left and right no more?
Nah, I got an idea. Real quick.
This is getting the sound from here.
1, 2. 1, 2.
That's it right there. So now let's show you what I did though.
Check online.
I think that's it. Yeah. It's gonna work.
Wait, hold on real quick, Elder. Testing. 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 Testing.
Yeah, look.
Nah,
So you see what I did?
You came in
I came from the out to the end
Right.
here.
to have it.
Yeah,
Makes
because
sense.
this out, always remember these outs, it transfers the whole board.